We're back, baby. It is the charity stripe. Pitch your free throws because they are free. Fisher to Sopwith, DJ Nikki Snacks
You
Kreider.
got an extra done there today.
I did. I kind of was going for it. I wonder how many does I got in me, but that is another day for another time because
How
it is.
long can you hold your breath underwater?
Um, I was 2.
You were 2 years old
No,
last
I
time you
was
did
2
it.
years. I was 2 years old when I hit my peak performance, but now like maybe 2 minutes before I start really panicking. I think that's pretty
I
good.
would say we
That's
all hit our peak performance when we were negative years old
oh
in the
yeah.
womb for
When we were
9 months.
when we were womb mates, yeah, absolutely, yeah. What were you caught off guard when I told Michelle Beadle the other day that you breastfed until you were 14?
No,
That's
no,
true
I
friendship.
wasn't caught off guard, and
That's true friendship.
yeah, I mean, at this point, Nick and I, Josh has this pastime for himself that he likes to go about whenever he meets people that he hasn't, conversed with a lot, where he just dumps on them just the most bold faced lie you've ever heard. But he's really good at keeping a straight face, and either everyone's really gullible or you're a good actor, man.
Thank
And
you. Let's
every time they then ask me or Nick, we're just like, of course he's not telling the truth. But
We have some people that are just easy targets, like Joe Jamoke De Leon over there.
yeah.
Literally falls for anything.
Well, Nick is so committed to not believing anything. Like Nick is looking for it. He's like you have a proud stamp of approval over the last couple years. I would say like you cannot get me. Like you don't be you refuse to be, like you refuse to be gotten. But I've gotten some of my boy. I got like
Well,
Strike. I got Strikler recently pretty badly. Like
it's to the point where you'll say things that actually happen that I won't believe now.
yeah, that's true. That also is true. But try to pull one over. I've always found like saying it quicker and like nonchalantly makes it like more really like it's just like okay, like a throwaway. Like it's like more casual for because then they have to pick it up. But speaking of picking it up, the Miami Heat are gonna have to pick it up. We want to do our succession recap. We're gonna get into it. We've been waiting all week. If you haven't seen it yet, tough luck. The Miami Heat are gonna have to pick it up because I texted you, Toss, and at halftime, I was like, this is a whirlwind. They are throwing 7 different kinds of smoke in their direction, and they just cannot hang with this Denver Nuggets team. Murray, Gordon was electric. Porter Jr. was just doing everything he needed to do. And like Jokic had 10 assists by the half. And at that point, like, what are you going to do? And he's like not even scoring that much. The Heat, we said, have to get to the line. They literally did the opposite to the line fewest in the NBA Finals history. Was it twice?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I thought that it was a tale of, well, you'd like to be aggressive and you'd like to try and draw some fouls. And in the modern age of basketball in today's NBA, some of that means embellishing contact. They did not have that opportunity because every offensive possession that they had was too precious.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have the luxury of being able to try different things. They got into Jimmy Butler isolation early. I thought he was creating really, really well, and he ended up with 7 assists. I think he should have had more than that. He should have had 10 plus assists in this game. Strus had quality looks that he was not knocking down. Same thing with Martin. Same thing with all their role players. Gabe Vincent, shout out to him. He had a good game. Although I think he hit some a couple of threes late that I at that point the game was already over. Haywood Highsmith stepped in and did exactly what he needed to do. But every time they chipped away at the lead, they were playing with that competitive edge that they've always had. They got a great game offensively out of Bam. It wasn't enough, and Jokic and the Nuggets always had an answer. Now, if they shot like 10 plus threes in comparison to the Nuggets, they're going to need their shots to fall if they want to stay in these games, let alone win these games.
Mm-hmm.
I trust Jimmy at the end of the game if it's less than a 5-point lead, but this is an uphill battle for them for sure. And you said it, like Jokic, anytime he needed to score, he scored easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know that clip is circulating of him going at Cody Zeller and basically shirking him off like he was a 6'4" point guard, getting to the rim with ease. This was a team that looked like they were in complete control. They looked well rested. I said I didn't want to see them double Jokic. They did double Jokic in the first half, and it wasn't as much as you could have, but it's not something that's ever going to work. And I certainly think that they have a personnel problem in regards to matching up with Denver's size. The size difference was apparent. Porter Jr. had 13 rebounds. He had 2 blocks. Gordon had 14 points in the first half, and it was basically like every shot was within 2 feet of the hoop, or it was a dunk over a player that's 5 inches shorter than him.
Mm-hmm.
I had a tweet thread that was going, I was like, you cannot put Gabe Vincent on Aaron Gordon. He will score every time. Every time. And then I was like, well, you can't put Caleb Martin on him either, and you can't put Max Strus on him. So I don't know who you're going to put on him. I think we're going to see a lot more Haywood Highsmith. But I do have some praises for the Heat, but I'll let you, jump in there just based off of what I just said.
Well, I want to ask you guys, through 3 quarters, how many buckets do you think Jokic made?
I think he had probably 5 or 6. I think he had taken 7 shots at that point, 8 shots.
You want to throw some at it, Nick?
4?
Yeah. 4. He made 1 3, 1 bucket in the first quarter, 2 in the paint in the second, and then he had 4 buckets in the fourth quarter. It's so, and this is like an observation I have about his game. He's so good at getting the rest of his guys going early a lot of the time and kind of, waiting for his moment. And I was talking on a show the other day, one of the radio shows in Rip City, which I think we're guessing is Portland. The great Dwight and Chad, awesome dudes. We were talking about Jokic being not unathletic, but not uber athletic, to where his moves and his energy is so pointed and so specific. Like he's almost like a boxer in the ring, where he's not flailing around. He's not going at you. He's so methodical. He's so exact and precise. He's got absolute precision. And he kind of sits there like a viper sometimes and tires you out, or waits for you to get tired. And then he starts attacking the bucket, gets every other guy involved. And then he starts going at you in the fourth quarter, drawing fouls, getting to the line, getting buckets and ones. And the guy he's just very methodical. And so he's a very smart player. One of the smarter players. Yeah, I know it's a given, obviously, but I think I think he's one of the smarter players we've ever seen, to be honest.
I think that to me is obvious, honestly. Like based off of what he's able to do, there's very few guys that we've watched in our lifetime that make the same reads, that make the same quality read time in, time out. Now, I want to say what I had been saying on numerous different radio stations on how they should defend him was not how they went about it. I think that they went about it in the complete wrong way. He, in the fourth quarter, you're right. He waited patiently like a viper. And guess who looked like he was spry and had pep in his step and had plenty of energy in the fourth quarter? Jokic. You have to get him to a place where he's not looking like that in the fourth quarter, where then you can take advantage of it. I don't think they attacked him enough on defense. He was also comfortable letting Bam take those 10 to 12 footers. And to Bam's credit, he was high percentage with those shots last night. He hasn't always been that throughout the playoffs, but I don't think that they attacked him. I do think that they really tried to get the break going and push the tempo. I want to give a quick shout out to the Miami Heat defense, because I think they got back excellently in this game. Now, in that secondary break, the Jamal Murray pick and roll with Nikola Jokic is as deadly as Jokic himself in the fourth quarter. I'm not sure. And the more I watch Jamal Murray throughout these playoffs, the more and more I'm confident that he's getting healthier and healthier, because I think he looks even quicker this series than he did last series against the Lakers. The guy's first step and his movement around picks, and shout out and credit to Jokic for being one of the best screeners in the NBA as well. He has so much space to get off his shot. He had 3-4 feet of available space every time he was shooting, except for a couple of like post fadeaways that he, of course, miraculously hit because he hits tough shots. Jamal Murray had an easy night last night. Easy. And his nights cannot be easy. Another thing that I said, if they want to even have a shot at getting 2 games against this Nuggets team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree on all fronts. I hope they come back with a little more firepower in the second, because Murray, that's the scariest part. Like, he's fine winding this thing in his playoffs better with every game. Like, every game he looks a little bit better. I think it's a great point by you. I think he's fully back to the Jamal Murray we saw in the bubble, where he was absolutely electric and lighting it up. And then he hit the injury bug, and we were kind of waiting for him to hit that gear again.
Yeah.
But I
mean,
think
some of that's just confidence of being on the court, right? I think, like, from an athletic standpoint, maybe he's been back already, but
Sure.
you have to trust your movements. And right now, I don't see any hesitation when he puts his head down and goes full steam ahead, or makes a hard cut or a hard step back. Like, there's no hesitation whatsoever. Which is great.
I think so much. I mean, you guys have had injuries, but I've had injuries. You guys have had injuries. I had an injury a couple years ago with my hip. Like, I could bike again, probably, but I don't, because like something mentally is like kind of blocked it off. I feel like so much of injury half the time is the actual physical injury itself is like 50% of the battle, versus that mental second level is like, getting past it is that next level. Yeah. The NBA Finals, Jokic did not never disappoints. We'll see what answer Jimmy Butler has. Nick, and I think I made one. Then I think that Alex, I want to throw you to make one too, and because Nick, you made an all-star ballot. I know it took a little long wind to get there, but an all-star ballot, because it's tough for MLB right now. There are some really, before we get to Succession, I threw like your guy. Josh Young, I want to put him. I don't think I put him in there because I know you did, Nick, and you said that the other day. I want to see where I did it. It's somewhere on my laptop. I thought I took a screenshot for y'all. Maybe I didn't. But it's really like Devers is in the mix. There's so many good, like there's a lot of really good seasons going on right now. Like, I had a ballot where I was like juggling between Arozarena and Alvarez, like throwing one of them in there, which is really brutal. So there's a lot of really good like first base in the NL, Alonso, Goldschmidt, Freeman. Like Freeman, he could easily be the MVP though. I just wanted to throw, before we get to Succession, I wanted to throw that notion out there. As good as Acuna Jr. has been, like Freddie Freeman could really be the MVP.
Yeah,
he's hitting 350
and at the top of his division too.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. And we're tied. Corbin Carroll, man. He's every bit as average. He's like Mookie 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna win Rookie of the Year easily.
Every bit as advertised. He's pretty remarkable too. But I did throw our boy Adolis in there.
Garcia, yeah. There's a lot of Rangers in there. I mean, Simeon for sure is.
Yeah, you didn't put Simeon. I feel like
Simeon was a lock. Simeon's a lock for me. Simeon, there was a farm to the show, guys. I'm gonna cut that clip for Stadium and for just Twitter usage. But they had like a debate on Simeon, and they think that he's a little like matter of like happenstance of like being in good lineups and a little overrated, which. I think that's a tough sell for me at this point. Seeing what he did in Oakland, he's got 2 top 5 MVP finishes in his career before this season, so he's a real all-star.
Who was y'all's just quickly before we move on? Who was y'all's NL second baseman?
Arias.
Yeah, easily had to. But there were other good options though. I wish I know I screenshot.
Yeah, I mean, Arias is the right pick. Nolan Gorman has been really good.
That's who I was like. Okay, thank you. Off the top. Oh, got it right here. Nolan Gorman was my debate. I have it here. First base AL. I went Rizzo, Simeon. I went Chapman over Young, but like
you went Rizzo over Yandy Diaz.
Yeah, I probably should not have done that. Honestly, I just kind of like.
Hey, look, that's not. I don't think Rizzo is a bad pick though.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. You're right, but it's not. I went Simeon. I went Chapman over Josh Young, but I don't know. That's tough too. Bo Bichette, that's short. It's easy for me.
Yeah.
I left Alvarez off because he's an outfielder. I went to Rosa Reina and Dolis, Aaron Judge for sure. I went Ruxman for catcher, and then for DH, like I have to go Shohei.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have to. Like, he's so good. And then in the NL was Freddie Freeman, Arias, JD Davis at third. Like, he's like sneakily having a really nice season. He won't get it, but I want to give him some love because he's like, given all, it's the best he's ever been. Orlando Arcia, shortstop was a little weak for the NL, I felt.
Yeah, I threw Xander a vote, even though he's struggling.
Yeah.
Because he could pick it back up, and I think he can work his way in there.
I hope so. Acuna, I'm curious about your outfield, Nick, in the NL. My outfield was Acuna, Corbin
Will Smith as your catcher.
No, that was tough for me. I went with Sean Murphy.
Hmm.
But that's again another toss up. DH, I went with JD. He's been dope, JD, for the Dodgers.
Yes.
And then my outfield was Acuna, Corbin Carroll is a rookie.
I had Soler as my DH.
Yeah,
just bombing right now.
He's killing it.
And I hate putting Dodgers in there. My outfield was Juan Soto and Acuna, and then I'm trying to remember who the third one was. I mean, his on base percentage is just
he was my fourth
insane.
pick. I went with two D-backs. I went with Lordy Scuriel. He's been dope. He's been nice. He's been really nice. And yeah, Toss and I think we're talking about that trade yesterday. Kind of a sus trade for the Jays. Not gonna lie. But
Nick, does it make you? Are you okay with Will Myers hitting 189 right now?
Well, he was injured for a lot of the year. He's not playing a lot, but
I mean, I guess Trent Grisham's hitting the exact same as that, so it's like
Trent is bad.
We did it when we did our
Glover.
Yeah, when we did our top list, I was a little nervous you were gonna pity put the Padres in. They were our best lineups, but you just can't.
They are literally last in baseball in batting average.
It's so unfathomable how terrible they are. Sorry,
it's ridiculous.
Just because I like the personnel on paper, I'm like looking at it on paper. I'm like, this should be an all-star. Like they should all be all-stars, and they're all all-stars, not all-stars.
Yeah, I think as it stands right now, they probably have two all-stars, Hader and Soto. I think Soto is going to get in. I mean,
and let's be honest, if Tatis had played a full season, he'd be an all-star too.
I still think he has a chance because we have a full
that's
month.
what I'm saying. His numbers are as good as a lot of guys out there who have played an extra month.
He needs to get his average up.
Why don't they draw? I don't know. We can talk about this another time. I want to talk about Succession, but maybe answer me later. I don't know. Why drop him in the order? Just play with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. He gets on base. He steals bases, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
But I think the other guy that we're flirting with maybe being an all-star is Michael Wacha. He's like the guy in the rotation this year that's like been our best pitcher, and he's been great. So
a total joke. I hope Macho Man's a rookie all-star too. Like honestly, that'd be. He got so many followers on the gram. It's crazy. Japanese baseball players. All right. I want to, because we have so much to uncover in Succession. I was talking to a friend of ours about being disappointed that it wasn't Kendall, although I think we all knew it never was going to be Kendall. And I really thought Kendall could have done it with the right circumstances. But he brought up the point that Kendall never took the time to establish real human relationships with people. And he was so hell-bent on getting what he wanted that he never did that. And that statement of all his relationships being very surface level, let's do this, like super shallow. I was like, you know what? That device of the scene with Logan joking with Connor, Jerry, with Carl and Frank, like there's so many ways that device could have been used. For me, though, I think with knowing that point that our buddy made, it hits in that way in the sense that like Kendall didn't have that with anybody.
Yeah, makes sense.
The kids are in that scene. They're in the tape.
Are they?
Yeah, they're at the table.
I didn't see them.
I didn't see them, but okay, if they are, I don't
I
think
think
it
it's
matters.
I think it's presumed that they're there. That it was like a classic family meal with the squad.
I thought they said the other was pretty good to Connor. It was like if they missed it. I don't know, maybe. Regardless, though, I think to me, though, with that notion that our buddy brought up, Kendall never made those relationships with people.
Well,
And
they
Logan
actually
had.
they actually showed you in the beginning of the episode an example of that. I don't think a lot of people paid attention to it, but Jess was not in the finale. There was new Jess. She got fired.
Yeah.
He literally said there's a blonde girl that walks in the office at the beginning of the episode and he goes, "New Jess." Because he doesn't know what her name is, so he calls her New Jess.
New
So that's
Jess.
exactly to your point, Josh, is that he didn't nurture the relationships that he had around him, and there were people that were willing to be on his side that, like, throughout the prior 3 seasons had shown up for him on a personal level. Frank, of course, being the number one, which to me is like, man, Ken, you couldn't even get in the vote. You couldn't get your
Your
real
boy.
dad, basically, your like surrogate dad, Frank, to vote for you.
And he was the one that delivered the final. He was the first one. And I think, okay, like off your point, like there's a lot
Right,
to
he was
even
the
be
first one to
first one
say,
to vote.
yeah,
First one to
Well,
say no.
very intentional, of course.
I think very intentional, but also, look, Frank and Carl have seen it all. They've been there for so long. They've put in so much time. They want to cash out. They want to sell and cash out. They're done. They're old guys. They want to kick up their feet and be done.
Yeah, and they're going to be
Maybe.
done a little bit sooner than they even
Well, they're
wanted to.
done whether they want to be or
Yeah,
not.
they're done. I mean, yeah, because
Thomas,
they burned their bridge with old Tom.
Yeah. When they all sat around and they poo-pooed him when he threw himself out there, another small Easter egg of like, oh no, like what go
Yeah, but like
but
I don't blame them for that though. Like they're right.
no, they're
right
right.
too. Like Tom had more credibility from a business standpoint than Kendall and Shiv and Roman, of course, but not more than Carl. Not as long as Carl had been a tenured employee and dealt with ups and downs and the market crash in '08. Like this exists in our world, you know, like all those things are still a reality of the situation. And Carl was with the company for that long, but they're also at that age where it's like, do we want them to stay around? No, you need the guy that's closer to Tom's age who can be the CEO, the puppet CEO for 10 plus years.
What did
We
you guys
saw-
make of like the interview? I don't know if you even call it an interview, but the dinner that Tom and Madsen were having.
I thought it was interesting because I'm glad you brought that up. What do you think first? Because you brought
Well,
it
there
up.
was a lot of things going through my mind, right, when it's
Yeah.
happening. Like the thing that stands out the most is when he goes, there's this thing about Shiv that like I think she wants to F me and I want to F her. And I think in the right circumstance, she would F me too. And he's saying that to her husband. And I think it was like a true test and a challenge to see if like he would actually say anything or if he's just going to let Madsen walk all over him and do whatever the hell he wants. And that was literally just like the test right there, because like what's more like, I'm just going to absorb these punches than a man saying to another man, I want to have sex with your wife and you not do anything about it.
Pain sponge, baby.
He's the pain sponge. Exactly what he said. He basically, gave a great example of that right there.
And I think one of the most masterful things about the show is that while he's testing him, we've seen enough of Madsen to also know that that's a true statement for him too. Like,
yeah,
the people aren't testing each other just to test each other. It's like part of their nature and who they are.
You could see the
he really would want that too. Like we saw enough between the two of them to know that they had chemistry, not just on the camera, right? Like not just the actors, but like also the characters within the show. No, but that was an awesome moment. I loved that like Greg got kind of manipulated as a device of communicating kind of between the different camps, right? Like he was so quick to betray everyone to get what he wanted, where he didn't necessarily have the same level of loyalty that Tom had consistently to Logan throughout the show.
He wasn't.
Because remember when he was with Ken in season 2, and he lived with Ken for a second? Like he really did. I mean,
he's very nomadic.
Yeah, he gravitated towards Ken, but ultimately he came in with no strings attached to anyone, right? Ewan, basically, and Logan. So he had to fend for himself. And I think that's also what got Greg to where he is, but it's also what kind of hindered him from having a real shot outside of the fact that he didn't have the resume from a business standpoint.
Greg Hirsch can get a shot. I just don't think it'll be here. I think he's going to learn more under Tom in a safer, more focused environment. There's not a lot of like this Game of Thronesy like battle for the Iron Throne going. There's no battle for the Iron Throne going on anymore. Presuming Mencken wins, so we don't even know. Like, you know, Mencken, we're airing under that assumption. So with Tom, I think it's interesting because we saw Tom mainly through the lens of the Roys, where he was bodied a lot, subservient a lot. They were like, F Tom, screw Tom, he's soft, like, and you're like, yeah, like everyone's kind of pointing fun at him. And then next thing you know, like he rises from the ashes and everyone's shaking his hand and everyone's like, characters we don't even like, who are these guys? These characters, these people coming and shaking his hand. They're nobodies to us, but they're somebodies to him. And they're people that are clearly higher up that they're there at this event. They're there for his coronation. He's meeting these people. And it just shows that like maybe he wasn't with the Roy, maybe he was the, you know, the bottom of the top with the Roys, quote unquote. He was still at the top. He was still at the top. And so I think he spent a lot of time with Logan. He learned a lot from Logan. I think he spent the most time with Logan without trying to get something from Logan. Get his approval, get his praise.
Or at least like overtly, right? He did the best job of like hiding what he really wanted. I will say though, I know he's like the winner of it, but I really don't think like if you keep the story going forward that he is. And I think there were enough moments that were shown in that finale and throughout the show to know that no one ever gets the sunshine for too long. When you think about after when they finalize the deal and they bring like the press team in there, what is the succession of how they take photos? The first photo includes Carl and Frank. The second photo includes just Tom and the Gojo crew. The third photo is just the Gojo crew. They know what they want, and they know they are ultimately the ones that are winning this situation.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Matson sits in the Iron Throne. Tom's a puppet.
Right. I'm just, yeah. So I think, and also like they very much alluded, oh, for sure. They very much alluded to Mencken not winning by the fact that they said that Connor could easily end up not getting the appointment in Slovenia, staying in New York, and forcing Willa to not have the apartment to run her theater rehearsals for 3 months or whatever the amount of time that it was.
She looked like in total panic.
Yeah,
when she heard that.
That was such a funny little quip that Roman threw at her. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was just like, oh, you guys are already taking a break in your marriage after 2 weeks or something like that.
The 2-week itch. He's had a couple of like zinger. I don't know. I saw one of the scenes from whenever they were on the boat. I think it was season 2.
I think season 2 finale, right?
Yeah, they're on that boat, and that who's it gonna be? Like watching that scene with the script.
So
scripted.
good.
Do you guys see it?
Script going. Yeah, I saw the script.
Yeah, I was like, wow. It was like so dope. Like the liberties the actors take, and when they take them,
it's interesting because some actors do take the liberties and other actors don't. Like it seemed like Tom was like pretty perfect, word perfect for what the script entails, but like Roman and Kendall kind of go off a little bit.
Yeah, British actors versus American actors 101.
That. But also a lot of times when they went off script, it was cutting lines, not adding things in. So it's just like a testament to like how economical these actors were with the lines that they needed to get their point across. And then once you've said what you've said, like you don't have to add that third reference to whatever was mentioned. I think like one line that Kieran Culkin cut had to do with like Star Wars or something like that. I can't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
He just like didn't say it, and it was about Jerry, and he just like got straight to the point. And it was one where I like read it with the script and I was like, oh, that's a funny line. But then as I watched it, I was like, but he didn't need to say that. So it's like, I get why he didn't say it.
Yeah.
That was an awesome scene though. That scene was way longer than I remembered, which is just, this is a show that like we enjoyed watching people sit in a room and talk to each other because it was that well written and that well acted, and the stakes were there from a story standpoint, like the entire
24/7. It was a hot burning fire. Like it was it was a grilling fire the whole time. And it was fast paced. Like they never really let up. And when they did take their foot off the gas, like, yeah, I mean, the way we're also talking about like Kendall, and you could see not even Shiv saying, "Oh, you're not going to be good at it," and Kendall's like, "Why?" And you're like, "Dude, like the only reason you're not going to be good at it is you're exemplifying it right now. You're not even able to like negotiate with your sister. You can't even handle this properly. You can't just sit down and rationalize, be like, look, I know you're feeling this way. Let's just take a second. Like, I'll give you your time in here if you want. Like, I respect your decision. Like, I want this for our family. And you do. If he could have done that, he has a shot at least.
Yeah.
But him, like, I'm exploding on the eldest boy and like getting to like infantile. It's like, dude.
I mean,
like,
he's hot. He's high. He's high on power in that moment, and no one has a rational thought when they are knee deep in whatever their vices. And for him, he's an addict, you know.
Yeah.
And not only that, but he may have killed that boy. Is that
or two?
Which one? The minute they brought that up, it was like, because you killed somebody.
Was this y'all's favorite? What was your favorite episode of the show? I know it's a tough question, but
Of the entire show?
yeah, just the one that like you loved the most.
I think the funniest one's the bachelor party. That's hilarious.
Where were they supposed to go?
There's so many good ones.
Where were they supposed to go? Stockholm?
I don't know. They ended up going to that underground rave though. Or
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many that stand out. You know what is like one thing that we should always be on our toes for? When HBO has a wedding, something's gonna go down. Because in both actually there was 3 weddings in this show, right? So there was Connor's wedding, which is the day that
Caroline's wedding, and then Shiv and Tom's wedding.
Yeah. So Connor's wedding, Logan dies, and Shiv's wedding, that little the kid dies in the water.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone dies at Caroline's wedding.
But that's when Kendall.
Oh yeah, that's when he admits it, and
also he tries
when he gets betrayed. That's when they get betrayed by Tom.
Right.
So that's like a huge one. And then we're looking back at weddings, Game of Thrones. Joffrey dies in his wedding.
Purple wedding.
Yep. The red wedding, obviously.
Of course.
I saw it the other day, and it brought,
the wedding in House of Dragon too, Nick.
Yep.
Right? Isn't there like a massive chaos scene where Tristan goes nuts and kills?
Yep.
There's a lot of usage of weddings in like Shakespeare. Like a lot of this is based off King Lear, and Shakespeare uses weddings as like in comedies, like he uses them at the end for like joyous events. Like, okay, like this is your wrap up, everything's happy. But in other instances, like he uses weddings at like weird points, like in the middle of Hamlet, and things go awry, and like, you know, he uses weddings in like the tragedies, like middle points, not at like these big, you know, okay, like celebration points. Like, no, he uses them like it's very pointed how he uses them. So I think it's a really good point, Nick. Like this was a tragedy and a drama. Like as funny as it was at times, like he uses it like that.
You think about. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
There was a ridiculous amount of Shakespeare references in this Succession.
Dude, they even started talking like it at one point.
Well, I mean, they were quoting it. They were quoting Shakespeare many times, and they also just all the themes align with it so much. I mean, there's so much in there. Well, what was the one? It was King
Lear. Is
it King Lear?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really based off heavily King Lear, with them like Logan being the King Lear figure. I actually think when they made it, I think why am I blanking on the actor's name?
Brian Cox.
Yeah, he was in King Lear. He's been King Lear before in London, maybe I want to say. So I think there's an element of his involvement there like that was like, okay, this is clearly the guy. And then obviously
Yeah.
in Lear, there's like the son. He has his kids, the sons. Like there's like a lot of power struggle over the throne, and his successor, and that's the kind of like the what it's based off of. But there's a lot of like Oedipus complexes. Yeah, I know like Jerry's not their mother, but she's a mother figure, and Roman to Jerry is like an Oedipus complex. Like there's like a lot of that, like
Right.
in a lot of Shakespearean tragedy. So yeah, I mean it's very these guys, the two writers of this show and the director, like the creators of this show, very, very, very impressive. The guy, do you guys watch the after show ever?
Mhm.
Sometimes, yeah.
I watched it after the finale, and he said, I will never create anything as good as this.
Yeah, but they're set now. They can
Oh,
create whatever they want now.
But I said, and I turned to Sam. I was like, I'm glad he said that because he doesn't have to. This is enough. Like sometimes it's enough. Like as an artist, like you guys can attest. Like you make something really dope. You're like, okay, I have to make something even better the next time. It's like maybe you don't. Maybe you don't.
Just let that
Maybe
sit.
so that's it. Yeah, let that like chill. Like, and that's like when we talk about Game of Thrones, like, and the two guys like getting ahead of themselves and like pushing the pace to get it done because of budgets and Star Wars. Like, stop
Well,
rushing your.
I think it's also they worked on it for 10 years.
Yeah, they did, but
I mean, I know it's easy for us to like critique, like, why wouldn't you just stick with it and ride it out? But like, it's a long time to be working on something. That's longer. That's double what most NFL players have as a career. Like, they worked on that for a long time, and guess what? They didn't come up with it. So I get why there was some exhaustion from there. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Also, like the product wasn't done. They're adapters. They're not. They have never been. Benioff and Weiss have never been incredible writers from a standpoint of creating their own new IP.
Right.
They're mastermind adapters.
It's still not done.
They had nothing to adapt at that point. They were talking to him, and it was basically like a game of telephone where they hop on a Zoom, I bet. And I mean, I know it's more involved in this, obviously, but he's telling them, hey, here's how things are supposed to go.
Yeah. No,
and normally
absolutely.
the way that he tells us how things are supposed to go is one chapter is like 4 episodes.
I wonder if George R. Martin saw the show and what he chooses to finish the books with is going to be different because of how he saw the reaction or how he saw everything unfold.
Well, I think it was already getting different at points anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how different is his ending going to be if we ever get it?
If we ever get it, dude, like you may never get it.
I actually remember him saying something to the effect that like it wasn't like his version. Arya doesn't kill the Night King or something like that, or something plays out differently than what we saw. Something that's like pretty drastically different. I don't think the like end result of the narratives changes that much because of it, but like a crucial character does something that someone else did in the show. Right. I mean, obviously, like one of the big storylines that he cuts out is I can't remember what Catelyn Stark is. She's not dead in the books.
Yeah,
she comes back and she has some like cool like Lady Stonehand name or something like that.
That's cool.
But the Arya to kill the Night King, Bran of whatever the hell, I hated him. His name was to be the Iron Throne guy. Like
Bran broken.
Yeah, she said it stayed broken. Those two getting to those destinations were a lot more out of left field for me than Tom getting to his destination of being the CEO of Waystar. Like it like actually like Tom had worked his way up. Parks, ATN, head of ATN. He had like he was the only person throughout the entire. I actually think he's the only person in the entire series we saw from start to finish work their way up within the company.
Greg.
Yes.
Who's Tom's leech, basically.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Shiv never like held like a real title at the company.
No, Roman is like, okay, you're gonna do this. You didn't work for they tried to make Roman work for it by sending him to Parks. Didn't really happen.
He fired. I mean, remember early in season 4, he fires like the studio executive, like in the first meeting with her, just on a whim, because he's anxious and like doesn't want to talk to her in that conversation anymore.
Just trying to do what he thought his dad would do, you know?
Right. I no, Josh, I more so I want to defend Game of Thrones a little bit because I think they set up Arya and Bran very much so in a way that where they end up maybe isn't what we wanted, but Bran was a three-eyed raven. Like that guy had a lot of power by the end of the show.
He had a lot of power.
He had a lot more power and wisdom and foresight than any other character. So
and Arya was an assassin that worked her way
for an entire
I'm not saying it's totally off base. I'm just saying it's a little out of left field. More out of left field than Tom being CEO of Woodstar.
Is it more out of left field than dragons and dead people rising from the ashes?
No, but that's part of the show. That's part of the show. I mean, the whole thing.
I don't really think it's that out of left field. I just think it's rushed, and because it's rushed, it feels unearned.
And that's why for me it's out of left field. It's a little out of left field.
But it's. I don't think it's out of left field though.
It wouldn't have been out of left field if it wasn't rushed and it was more earned.
You're just a big Jon Snow stan.
You just need to.
I don't think.
I think you need to rewatch. I think you need to rewatch because Nick and I have done more recent rewatches, and I think less critically of the ending of that show than I did when it first came out.
I agree with that.
Okay. Well, fine.
Not saying it's at the same quality as seasons 4 through 6 because I don't think it is, and like the beginning of season 7, but it's not. It takes a dip, but it's not as bad as we remember it.
Okay. I will rewatch if you guys think that it deserves its due diligence for a second rewatch. That's fair.
Do you guys know we're getting a Jon Snow spinoff?
Yeah, hopefully. I feel like we were supposed to, and they keep saying that, but I just don't. When do we get it?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. No, but John is a little bit of. You were a little dissatisfied that Tom got it because you wanted Ken to get it. You wanted Jon Snow to get it. And so did I, but Jon Snow couldn't have got it because he killed the queen. And the Kingslayer can never be the king. It's just, it doesn't work like that. We saw it from the beginning. Jaime Lannister was a martyr for the cause, but a martyr is dead. And he was his claim to the throne was dead at that point. So I know we wanted it, but he's the king of the North.
He was also openly banging his sister. It was super weird.
That also rubbed people the wrong way.
That definitely rubbed people the wrong way. All right, you have a game for us before we rock.
Basically.
Yeah, that's true.
She was his aunt, right? Danny was John's aunt.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. So actually, a lot of good. We're drawing some nice parallels here. What's your game before we rock and roll?
I mean, it was gonna be the Nick's favorite baseball player or actor, but I went deep dive with the baseball players to make it really challenging, and I picked only minor leaguers. So the game has changed to minor leaguer or actor.
Oh my god, dude, who's gonna survive this?
Well, no, it's just a fun. It really
okay.
Is just,
That's fine.
Josh plays minor league fantasy baseball.
No, I don't.
Do you?
I do not. No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. All right. Let's play. I'm done with this.
All right. Okay. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 6 names, so this one will go a bit quicker. First name: are they a baseball player (in parentheses a minor leaguer) or an actor? Adrian Martinez.
Baseball player.
Josh?
I'm gonna go actor.
Yeah, take more time with it. Josh is miraculously correct on this one. Okay.
I'm sure. I. You know what though? We sure there's not an Adrian Martinez that plays baseball.
There's one that plays football for sure.
Yes, definitely true. Where did he end up? Did he finish at Nebraska?
No, he went to K-State.
Yeah, that's right.
Adrian Martinez
baseball
is a AAA player right now for the Vegas Aviators. So we both.
Okay, so it's a both. Way to go. He's also a comedian and an actor. And that's the one that I was referencing, but I love that for both of you.
We both have one.
Okay. Antoine Kelly.
Antoine Kelly.
Mhm.
Um,
I'm gonna go actor.
Baseball player.
He is a baseball player. He's a pitcher for the Rough Riders. 2-1, Nicky Snacks. There you go. Nick, let's go. Josh Keaton.
Josh, wait, what was the last name?
Keaton. Keaton.
Baseball player.
I'm gonna say baseball player too. I think you want to trick us with the Keaton name.
You guys are both wrong. He is
is he
an
related to
actor.
Michael?
I don't believe so. He is a long tenured voiceover actor and plays a character in
Hercules.
the new Spider-Verse Hercules TV show, actually, which is funny. He plays one of the characters in the Spider-Verse new movie that comes out this weekend.
Is he actually in the Hercules TV show?
Yes, I think so. He's also Steve Rogers in What If, so that means he's basically the guy that like they wanted to sound like Chris Evans. So shout out to him. He's probably a pretty darn good voiceover actor.
Nice.
Okay. Andrew Cassetti.
Baseball player.
Yeah, baseball player.
He is a catcher for the Cedar Rapids Colonels.
Yeah, that guy sounds like an absolute
Cassetti.
catcher.
Okay, so 3-2, Nick, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Aaron Polensky.
Baseball player.
Actor.
He's a baseball player. He's an outfielder for the Somerset Patriots. Nick with the 4-2 victory. I'll give you the last one, but Nick at this point has secured the bag and the dub. Devin Bostick.
Baseball player.
Actor.
Nick, why don't you just get out with a really, really just wide open lead here, buddy? Because Devin Bostick is an actor. He is in the new Arnold Schwarzenegger TV show, Fubar, which is on Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah. So Josh kind of got crushed in this one. Yeah.
Smoked.
And Nick,
I'm better in the pros, dude. I'm better in the pro. You didn't do anybody from the top 100, so it's not the minor leaguers I know. Very impressive. Very impressive.
Yep.
There you go. So that's another actor or baseball player in parentheses, MILB. So
a couple minors in the mix. All right,
Maybe.
fans out there, drag both feet inbounds, swing on a full count, rip that puck, hit your PKs because they're free, and hit your free throws. I missed something there, and hit your free throws. Why, guys?
Because they're free.
Because they are free. We outro. We love ya.